I mean, it's after school. It's a private school.
Pledge allegiance.
A little.
You ready, Kevin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the agenda pending any changes.
There are no changes to the monthly agenda at this time.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Abrams, have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Beresowski, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good news, recognitions, and announcements.
Okay, we'll have, I think Mr. Pope has some good news, recognitions, and announcements for us that are produced from our students.
This is my favorite part.
And I'm the Festus February Student of the Month. My parents are Amy and John McDaniel. I thought that it was awesome and a great opportunity, and it was very nice that I got picked. My favorite class is my writing project class with Mr. Kearley. I'm involved in student council, cross country, National Honor Society, and I'm the chair of the Special Olympics Committee. I plan on going to Missouri State University and pursuing a degree in physical therapy. Now here's a look at the rest of this month's good news, recognitions, and announcements. 5 Festus High School students will be competing in the state wrestling meet in Columbia this weekend. Kirsten Klein, Lauren Mills, and Leanne Dobbs will represent Festus in the girls' meet. This is the largest number of girls to ever qualify for state from Festus. On the boys' side, Katie Shaver and Austin Neff will compete. Festus sophomore Kennedy Hale competed in the Fox Cedars Performing Arts Charitable Foundation's 2022 Teen Talent Competition. Kennedy was one of 14 finalists from across the St. Louis area. She performed a contemporary dance solo. She hopes to return to the competition next year. It's a busy time for Festus Tigerettes. On January 22nd, the team brought home the first place trophy in Division III Hip Hop and the second place trophy in Division II Jazz at the Fort Zumwalt North Dance Invitational. Then, on January 29th, the team received a superior trophy and the first place trophy in Division III Hip Hop and an excellent trophy in Division III Jazz at the Farmington Dance Invitational. The Tigerettes compete in the State Dance Championship on February 26th, then head to Orlando for the NBA Nationals from March 3rd to the 7th. The middle school play Aladdin opens this weekend at the Festus Performing Arts Center. Performances are at 7 p.m. tomorrow and Friday night and at 2 p.m. on Saturday. The public is invited to an open house at the Performing Arts Center on Sunday, February 27th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Various groups will showcase their talents in many performances that afternoon. Fox 2 News in the Morning and Tim Ezel will be at the PAC on the morning of Thursday, February 24th to promote the open house and give the public a sneak peek. Festus Middle School hosted the Jefferson County Middle School Quiz Bowl on February 10th. The competition was held in a trivia night format. 7th and 8th grade students from Festus, Sunrise, DeSoto, Jefferson R7, Windsor, Hillsborough, and Grandview participated. The Festus 7th grade team came in 3rd, while the 8th grade team finished 1st. Intermediate school 6th graders participated in play unified basketball on Thursday and Friday, February 10th and 11th. High school student council members have been mentoring 6th grade students of all abilities for the past several weeks, working with them on their basketball skills. At the games, they put those skills on display. The high school pep band and cheerleaders were also on hand to cheer on the players. It is part of the student council's efforts to help students of all abilities feel included and a part of the school community. It is events like Play Unified that helped Festus High School become the only school in Missouri to be named a Special Olympics Play Unified banner school. Students at the elementary school celebrated the 100th day of school on January 31st. Students participated in various activities featuring the number 100, including 100 coin tosses, counting 100 objects by 10, and 100 exercises among other activities. Many students and some teachers also dressed like they were 100 years old. That's a look at this month's good news, recognitions, and announcements.
Is that me too? Is that me too? I got it. Oh my God.
Very good. A lot of good things going on. Okay, next up, will somebody like a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Abrams, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Marizowski. Dr. Luttrell?
A couple things, well, several items on the consent agenda I want to point out is that first and foremost, you see the district of health insurance rates for our employees that will be in effect starting with fiscal year 23 on July 1. And if you noticed, we have had kind of ups and downs with our health insurance rates over the past 2 or 3, going back 3 or 4 years, but the past 2 years, because we've kind of made some adjustments, some of the the consortium members have gone other directions, and the members we have now are really a good core group, the 4 that are part of that now, and our usage is very, very strong, and we actually, for this next fiscal year, which is almost unheard of with health insurance, instead of taking any type of an increase, we will actually, like I said, be seeing a decline in our health insurance premium and not any reduction in our coverages. That's what, and then we're actually going to be able to contribute a little bit more each month to those that have an HSA plan. And we do foresee that this reduction, we should at the end of the entire fiscal year probably see an overall savings close to the low 6 figures, which is, again, is really something compared to where, you know, we've seen in some years we may have had to pay an assessment. So those rates will be in effect for next year, and I'm sure all of the people on the plan, including the retirees, that will see positive result from that, especially those that are on, that cover spouses, children, and the entire family. We have on there, also, it's getting that time now, we feel we're, ironic with the forecast, but we feel we're pretty much close out of the woods with winter, and we feel safe to set our summer school dates. We do want to offer a summer school program, and the dates we've settled upon are June the 1st through the June 28th, which would be a 20-day session. And what we would hope to do, again, you can see typically the way we do that is our bargaining agreement dictates the hourly rate for our certificated staff, and of course with classified staff, those individuals earn the same hourly wage that they do during the regular school term. And then so upon approval, if it's approved tonight for us to move forward with that, we will begin advertising and posting the 2 or 3 summer school positions for principals. And then after that date, in March, we'll bring back and probably ask for approval of those, and then we'll start soliciting for teachers and staff, and we'll bring those for your approval in April and May. And our goal would be to have enrollment registration materials out to parents and students no later than probably mid-April. Said summer school is a good opportunity for students, you know, to continue their learning and not have the learning loss over the summer. We do get funding for summer school, and the attendance we are able to capture on that. Know that without getting too much into the weeds, last year our summer school did have a big uptick because, you know, we generated about 133 ADA, which was about a little over 1,000 kids, and then much up quite a bit from the prior year with the pandemic, where we only generated right at a little over 50. But we're still a bit short of pre-pandemic levels. We were at a weighted ADA of about 143, but it does generate, you know, it does pay for itself. We are able to offer the students an opportunity to come each day and continue their learning. We do offer lunch with that every day, and we do offer transportation. But the thing about summer school to keep in mind too is that it's open to incoming kindergarten students, which kind of helps them get used to the daily structure of a school day, riding a school bus, and then also, but also what a lot of people don't know is that there are no boundaries when it comes to summer school. A student, regardless of where they live, regardless of what district they might attend during the school year, they can come to our summer school if we, and as long as we've got room and we, they don't pay anything, we get funding on some, so win-win.
And it
That's
keeps
on.
the kids safe, too.
Yes.
Safe and busy.
Yes. And then the district calendar. Every year we have a committee that meets to kind of come up with a calendar in terms of when we're going to start school for our next school year, 22-23 school year, what breaks are we going to have, what work days, when's first semester going to end. And we had 2 meetings with that, and then we had drafted a couple versions. We put those versions out for to get some feedback. Of course, no calendar is ever perfect, but we did put there and if you'll click on that, you can actually see the version that we are recommending. And then if you scroll down below that version, if you can enlarge it a little bit, if you can't see, you can enlarge it on your screen there a little bit. You'll see there that we actually have, with that, there's, from the bargaining, the main differences from this year is we have 171 student attendance days rather than 172. That was part of the bargaining agreement agreed upon last year between the FNEA and the district. And then we also have in the calendar that you'll see there a start date of August 22nd, which is a Monday. And again, remember, we used to start around the 16th, 15th of August, which gave us a little bit more leeway because we have to accumulate 1,044 instructional hours. That because state statute now says you can't start more than 2 weeks prior to Labor Day, that is the earliest start date that we're able to get. So that's why we have to have a 5-day week in that. And then you can see we also still have 3 PD days for staff. And you can see that first semester, we actually have an end date of first semester on the Wednesday, the 21st of December, which is an early out. And then second semester, we actually have for spring break, which is what a lot of people like to look at, we actually have a 4-day, it's over 2 weeks, a Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday in March. And then that's followed by, around the Easter time, we actually have a Friday and a Monday for that time. And then we actually have an ending date of Friday, May the 19th. And just as we have with our current calendar, we do actually have our first 4 days for inclement weather would be traditional snow days and add it to the end. And then any days after 4 up to 10 would be alternative methods of instruction or remote learning days, which allows us to be able to put our last possible attendance date already known as Thursday, May the 25th. So again, like I said, it was the calendar that was felt best, and upon approval, we will, like I said, start communicating that because a lot of families do, and well as staff like to kind of know as they plan for next year. Plus, as we hire personnel, teachers and that in for next year, it's always nice to, as we hire to show them the calendar so that they kind of know what they're looking at for next year. This calendar also incorporates continued which we've done for over 20 years now, a late start Wednesday with 1 hour late start every week. So I want to point that out, but I do thank our committee for the hard work they put into that. And then you also see that we have an college and career enhancement grant. We apply for that every year. There are funds available, which is mainly impacts over at the high school. You can write a grant to make sure to help your various programs, whether it be Project Lead the Way, which is STEM, your marketing, your business courses, and you can write up to a certain amount of funds, and then if you're approved, the state will pay, if you're asked for $100,000, the state would come in and pay $75,000 of that, and you would only have to match that with 25 grants. So it's a very good way to enhance your existing career-approved career education programs. And again, the one that we've been very successful in having those approved And so actually, next year, the amount that our total amount is, I believe, Dr. Bruce, you said was how much?
14,525,
And so our match
7,000.
is about $7,000. So, it's very, very much a big return on our investment with that. So that's the main points of the consent agenda. Outside of, I did want you to note that on the ledger subtotals financial piece, if you did remember, click on that, there's two files there, which is always the ledger, but then you notice there, Mr. Earnhardt added this month. Last month, he gave you kind of a financial report. He told you he would every month give you kind of an update that you could refer to, even though we're probably not going to let him speak until like maybe once every 3 months. But that's kind of where you can find that report at each month. And like I said, and I think, he will, like I said, we continue right now, just as last month, Mr. Earnhardt, you can interject, but we continue to feel very strong. We feel very good that our budget is in a very strong position at this point in the year, heading into near the end of the year.
What you have there should be absolute worst case scenario. So,
Yeah.
but and now that's barring any major catastrophe, but I anticipate we'll finish better than that, but that should be worse.
And if you have any questions ever, just give us a call and we'll be heard. But probably in April, he will give you another report as we're heading into the last quarter of the fiscal year. Okay, that's my items I want to highlight on the consent agenda.
Sounds good. Anybody have any questions about the consent agenda for Dr. Winthrop? If not, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Communications and reports. Superintendent's report.
Okay, real quick, a couple things I want to talk about. As you know, we are, as you saw in the good news announcements, our Performing Arts Center is open. We've had some small things in there during the school day. We've got the middle school musical coming up. We've had community groups already reaching out, hey, when can we get in there? When can we use it? And it's at the point where with that facility, coupled with our new ball field, coupled with the fact that in a couple of years we're going to have the new wellness center, we really feel that it's, to do it right, especially for the community, we're going to have to look at hiring and creating a part-time facility scheduler that's going to work with the community, people that are wanting to use our, especially the Performing Arts Center, because there are so many possibilities for use in that, whether you use just the auditorium, the stage, the microphone, the sound booth, the community room, the green room. It's really a tremendous opportunity, and there's also a lot of equipment in there with lapel mics, cordless mics, lighting, and so we need someone that's going to help keep track of that, but also when the community members call and inquire about, hey, I'd like to maybe use the Performing Arts Center, they need to be able to know they can get a hold of someone, as opposed to, well, that person's busy right now because they're obligated to another responsibility, teaching or whatever. And so we would like to, like I said, look at creating this position part-time. Again, we need to create a job description. We need to come up, I figure that just roughly, if we estimated the salary of $20, $25 an hour to help give tours, scheduling, and then they got to arrange for custodial work, arrange for the people that we are going to have trained to run the sound. Very flexible. We feel that the money that the fees generated would more than compensate for any monies that we would be paying out. And I just think it's something that, again, we've grown into and we need to do to keep making sure that we're be able to be listening to not only our internal staff that are going to be using that facility, because when you start thinking every grade level wants to use that facility for a program, elementary-wise, intermediate-wise, instrumental-wise, vocal-wise, theater-wise, that's a lot to take coordination, and you've got to have an individual that's going to take that seriously, in addition to making sure that all the equipment's going to be taken care of and maintained. So I was just going to ask that, again, that unless if you have any questions about that, or unless there's any objection, I would like sooner than later to move forward with at least developing a job description for that position, formally posting the position, so that we can bring to you all maybe next month an individual that we feel would be best suited for that position, so that they could start that sooner than later.
This sounds like a full-time position to
Well,
me.
I mean, I see it possibly evolving, but I
Yeah.
don't right now but I do think that after we get the new wellness center on board,
Right. Is this all of the, like the, if you want the cafeteria, the upper cafeteria?
we haven't,
Is it
we have,
everything?
that's negotiable. Right
Right.
now, the principals still, I think, want to hold on to some of the things within their building, like their cafeterias, their gyms. But as far as the larger items that's what we know they're going to need.
Because
some
right now
help.
it goes through Michelle Donaldson, because I had to get the
Yes.
upper cafeteria
Yes.
for my homeowners.
And again, even when you consider our activities office over there, they're busy. I mean, even just officials,
Yeah.
game day, I mean, it's,
Sure.
so, but anyway, that's what I would like to do. I want to kind of get your thoughts on that. And then, like I said, it's right, flowing with that, we have we have not yet have our actual fee structure set. We're working on it. Mr. Pope, is gathering some information. I've been looking at some things. Our goal is, we hope to have a fee structure available for the Performing Arts Center as well as the ball field by mid-March. Until that time, though, I would like, again, just so you all know that I'm still individually as needed. Individuals that reach out to me that need it in the interim, I'm trying to maybe negotiate some structure of a fee initially, just till we get something in place. And I've been kind of holding the line, but I have had one group, a community group that's more of a faith-based organization. They have contacted me, and they would like to use the PAC for again, pay a fee,
Right.
and and that, but they want to be more of a community-wide celebration on the morning of Easter Sunday. And I think that, again, I'm going to meet with them next week, but I think that would be something good if we can make that happen, where they could do that. They have done it in the past. They've used an outdoor area here that's occupied by the city, that's outdoors. But like I said, if you're okay with that, I'm going to, on some of these individual smaller ones that impact a large number community-wide, until we get the fee, I'd like to, have your authorization, just be okay to work individually with them until we get a more solid fee structure, rather than just, shut some individuals out. And then on the COVID data, like I said, our campus community positivity rates continue to be on the decline. As of earlier this afternoon, I think we had a total of 7 positive cases, and there was no individual school attendance center that had more than 3 individuals, so we're glad to see that. Hopefully that will continue, but we shall see. This Friday, the 18th, is a staff professional development day. It's a full day PD for our certificated staff. In the morning, they'll be in individual buildings working, receiving in-service aligned with some of their goals and that are unique to their attendance center. But then what's going to be really neat about this day is that in the afternoon on Friday, starting around 11:15, we have all of our staff, certificated and classified, bus drivers, food service, paraprofessionals, office support staff, teachers, all coming together. We've never been able to do this, at least in my tenure, 14 years, because we just haven't had the space. And we're actually going to, our maintenance crew, we're going to set up tables in the gym with tarps. We're doing a catered lunch from one of our local food service providers. And then at 1 o'clock, everyone's coming together, and we're going to go into the Performing Arts Center, and we have a nationally renowned speaker, John O'Leary, who is a best-selling author, somebody may have heard him, but he's actually from St. Louis, but goes all over the country, and he has 2 books out. One that was his first one was On Fire, and the most recent one is In Awe. And he comes very highly recommended. when we announced it to the staff in a PD meeting a while back, they immediately were all just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're having him come. And we're going to also, first of all, is arranged for all staff that come that day. They also are going to get a free copy of one of his books. They can choose which one they would like to have. So we're very excited about that happening this Friday. But I'm most excited about just bringing all the K-12 staff together. We're going to, even though it's not a contract day for like bus transportation, food service, we've told them, come, we're going to pay you that day.
Sure.
And Dr. Russo was even able to arrange for our food service staff that they're going to come, get paid, and that's why we had it catered, because they don't have to come and serve. They can just come and, partake of the meal.
Because you're all there for the
and that.
success of
So
the kids.
we're very excited about that.
Yeah.
Of course, I say all that
Cross out that last sentence.
to say, let's just hope that we hope Mother Nature cooperates with
Yeah.
us.
I hope so.
So that is my superintendent's report.
Do we need any action as far
No,
as?
no. I mean,
Sounds good. Next up will be Dr. Russo's 5 minutes on her student performance data.
we do have, actually, if you remember last month, we were able to share some local data from Jefferson County from our students' assessments to show how the effort put forth by our students as well as our staff. It was just incredible, although every district had it different. And then this month, she's going to bring you some more data. That's every year we look at how we compare to not only Jefferson County, but statewide schools that are high performing. And she's going to try and now come and, like I said, like Mr. Captain Wendell said, keep it to 5 minutes and we'll see how that
I'll do
goes.
my best. Hey, I did 100 slides this morning in 15 minutes. I think that was a record.
That's a
Sure you
miracle.
did.
So, I'm always excited to bring this information to you all. We have a lot of great things going on, as you've already heard. Our theme this year was We Don't Back Down. If you remember from last month when we talked about the county scores, we had a lot of challenges that faced us, and we did not back down from those. If you recall, we talked a little bit about the leader article that was in one of the papers and not our local paper, and then now it did show up in our local Festus one. And to show you this, the only one, Festus was the only one of the county's 11 school districts to have more than half of its students score proficient and advanced on the 2 tests, which I think is amazing. Definitely came from a lot of hard work from our teachers, as we've indicated over the last couple of years. If you recall, just to refresh your memory about proficiencies, a lot of time the media uses the proficient and advanced percentage because that's an easier calculation for everyone to understand, because it talks about the percentage of students who scored in the top 2 achievement levels, which, if you remember, advanced, proficient, basic, and below basic. We often use MPIs, which is the index score, and the reason we use that is because that calculates all 4 achievement levels, which here we feel like that is a truer indication of how all students perform. So a lot of times in the media, you'll see just those top 2 tiers reported, but remember, when we rank our slides that you'll see in a minute, we rank by MPI. So you'll see like a discrepancy here, where we look to be 3rd, but when we look at MPIs, we're 1st because we take into consideration all 4 achievement levels. Okay? So I just wanted to draw your attention to that. So tonight, we talked about the Jefferson County data. We're going to look quickly at the statewide data, the group of 26, and then the group of 21 in the St. Louis metro area. And I think you'll see, just as you did with the county scores last month, that how we compare is the consistency among all of those scores. And again, that's good. We want to see that. We don't want to see spikes in one area or another. When we see consistent progress across the grades, that shows us we have a pretty solid scope and sequence happening in our curriculum and instruction. So just a refresher on the scores that you want to see as far as index scores go. We want to be as close as possible to that proficiency mark, which is around the 400 scores. And then, of course, advanced is 500. And we talked about the percentage of proficient students, proficient and advanced, you'll see. So ELA, we'll go through that quickly. In the group of 26, this is the same group that you've looked at over the last few years. We kept the same schools. There's some university schools. There's schools that we know that are high performing. And I think I'm gonna have to come back here, Kevin, it's not picking up my. So when you look at that, you're gonna look at it by grade level. This is third grade, and again, I'm gonna go quickly so that you can see. But every one of the slides is set up the same, the proficient and advanced percentage, and then the MAP index. And remember, we're ranked by that index score that you see. So this is ELA, third grade, 73% of our students were advanced and proficient with a 387 API. So now that you kind of have the idea of this slide.
Bruce, you want to again just explain that?
Oh, the
those-
suppression.
The dashes?
Yes, if you remember from the Jefferson County data that we shared last time, when you see the dash, that is because that DESE suppressed some of the data, the public data, and we could not retrieve it. For example, for us in government, we had one student below basic, and so DESE suppressed that so that people couldn't data mine and figure out who that one student was or what group that one student belonged to. So in the suppression, they suppressed that one student in below basic, and they also suppressed the next lowest. So for us in government, we had 30 students who were advanced. So they suppressed below basic and advanced. So that really in the public data, all you see is proficient and basic. So when we did dashes there, it's because we couldn't retrieve all of that information because of the way DESE suppressed the information.
None of them do this.
So fourth grade ELA, again, across the state, you'll see that. Sixth grade ELA. And we share this, we only have one data tour left. We do that next week, but we've been able to go the last, all through January and February and share this information with all of the staff who wanted us to come to their PLCs. And then the idea of that is they take this information, this is just overview information for them in each of their grade levels, and then they dig a little bit deeper in their PLCs because obviously they know the names of the students who are attached to these numbers in each of the grade levels. If you remember, ELA 2 is the required EOC. We did give the optional EOCs, but again, not everyone did, so that data is sometimes, we didn't include it in these slides, but we do have it for our staff members to look at their own data. When you take all the tested areas 3 through 8 of ELA 2, you can see our ranking across the state in the group of 26. In the group of 21 in ELA, again, these are the same group we look at in the St. Louis metro area, schools we've heard of, schools we are familiar with, we hear them in the news quite a lot. Again, how did we stack up against those schools? Same type of slide, you can see how we perform. And again, as we mentioned in the Jefferson County group last month, this is not a great comparison year. We know that every school district did things a little bit different. They had their own set of challenges. Some were online, some were hybrid. So really, it's not about comparison at all. It's just to look at our school and how we're performing and the consistency that we show among the grades in each of the subject areas. Dr. Latrell and I are currently working on looking at the data for, we've had a request about looking at online and in-person, how our students performed for those who were online and who were in-person last year. So right now we're calculating that. We should have that within a couple of weeks. But that was a little bit more difficult because if you recall, we had students coming back and forth. Some went online and then some returned. And at our highest, we only had 20% that was ever out completely online. ELA in that group, 8th grade, in that group of 21. And then at the high school level, in that group of 21. ELA 2 is required. And when you take all of those required areas, tested areas on the state assessment, so we're going to look at the same thing for math, same group of schools. In each of the grade levels, our performance. Again, outstanding performance. And I was just speaking to Ms. Berezowski earlier about the genuine thankfulness I feel for the effort that went into everyone educating our kids last year. I think it took a lot. It was a lot of challenges, and everybody stepped up and really contributed, and I think it shows in our student performance overall. 5th grade math in that group of 26. again, as I mentioned, we look at that consistency, and that lets us know that we have some pretty solid vertical alignment also going on, because there's a lot of the same consistent scoring across the grades, which is important. Obviously, there's always room for improvement and continued growth, but I was very happy to see that. 8th grade math, again, I always feel like I have the disclaimer on this one in Algebra 1, if you remember, because every school district handles their 8th grade Algebra 1 students a little bit different. So remember, our Algebra 1 students now, if they take 8th grade, if they take Algebra 1 in 8th grade, they get transcripted high school credit, but they do not take the Algebra 1 EOC until the first semester of Algebra 2. So those students are not even showing up in these scores right now, because if you recall, we didn't test in 20, and then in 21, they're not in this mix.
So who takes the 8th grade algebra? Just the pre-algebra kids?
The 8th grade Algebra 1 kids take 8th grade math.
Okay.
So everyone is taking
I
8th
see.
grade math.
Okay.
We did that for a couple of reasons. One of them is because at the time, and still currently, A+ for A+ at the high school,
Right.
they had to have a proficient score at the high school for their A+ to receive A+. So when they were taking it at 8th grade, we thought it might be better to take it during Algebra 2,
Sure.
so that they had that opportunity. Actually, they would then have 2 opportunities. They would take Algebra 1 the first semester of Algebra 2, and then if they didn't get proficient, they have another opportunity in Algebra 2 to take
Well,
it
that
again.
makes sense, yeah. Thank you.
So, again, with Algebra 1, that's a tough comparison because everyone handles that a little bit differently. So in all the tested areas, 3 through 8 in Algebra 1 in math, you can see in the group of 26 our performance overall. And then in that group of 21, St. Louis metro area, how we perform stacked up against that group. And we say all the time, we kind of get used to seeing our score up there, which I'm very proud of, but that does not just happen. That takes a lot of effort from everyone involved. Parents, students, teachers, everyone. 7th grade math. And then 8th grade in that group of 21. And then Algebra 1, required EOC. And then all the tested areas 3 through 8 in Algebra 1 in that group of 21. One last subject area is science. Remember, science is a grade span test, so it's 5th, 8th, and biology, which, again, is, in my opinion, a little bit more difficult when you're trying to do item analysis, because this is kindergarten through 5th grade standards that they're looking at. And so, again, it takes a lot of vertical alignment, a lot of discussion to make sure that that happens. So in 5th grade, in that group of 26, our performance, 8th grade science. And then biology is the required EOC at the high school level. And then overall, 5, 8, and biology in the group of 26. Oops, sorry. And then in the group of 21, same thing. 5th grade science. 8th grade science. And biology. And then all of those tested areas calculated together, 5th, 8th, and biology in that group of 21. This one, if you remember, we've talked about, this is the super subgroup population. And if you recall, super subgroup students are students who come to school with some challenges, maybe IEP students, at risk, free and reduced lunch populations. So we combine all of them in a super subgroup. DESE looks at them in this way. So any student that was identified as being a part of a subgroup, that is their scores across the state and all this. So this is our super subgroup population score compared to all of those other school districts' super subgroup populations. So again, high performance, that takes a lot of interventions, that takes a lot of accommodations and working through things with students. This is ELA that you're looking at. But the most amazing thing is when you look at our super subgroup MPI, this is that super subgroup population, they outperformed all those schools in red, the total populations in those other school districts. So that's all the data you just looked at with the totals. Our super subgroup kids outperformed super subgroup kids, but they also outperformed the total populations of those school districts you see in red. In ELA, this is in ELA in the group of 21, super subgroup to super subgroup, how did they perform? And then against the total populations, our super subgroup outperformed all those in red. And then in math, same thing. This is in that group of 26, super subgroup to super subgroup, how did our students perform? And then up against the total populations, they outperformed those in red. And then in that group of 21, super subgroup to super subgroup, how they performed in math, and then against the total populations. And I think, I tell Dr. Trell, he kind of teases me now, but this is one of the most important slides, I think, this type of data analysis, because this is where teachers sometimes feel exhausted. Are the things that I'm doing in the classroom working? Are the interventions making a difference? And I think these slides really show them that that actually is occurring in the classrooms. So our super subgroup kids in science, in the group of 26, same thing, how they performed, and then up against the totals. And then in the group of 21, super subgroup to their peers, and then up against the total populations, they outperformed those in red. You've heard me say already, student performance does not just happen by chance. It takes a lot of effort from everyone working towards common goals, implementing action steps that make a difference, and we have a great team of people that are doing those exact things. So, do you have any questions or anything?
No, it just, you can tell, I mean, they're great scores, and it's also a motivator to want to, work harder and smarter, so.
Good to hear. I'll add a slide.
And I just have one more slide I want to share with you. I didn't know if I would be running out of time. We look at the state assessment data, but there's also organizations out there that survey schools. I'm sure you've seen the articles, you've seen things, the Show Me Institute does some, Niche does some, they survey parents, they survey kids. And so when you look at some of these, when you look at some of those surveys, I don't know what happened, sorry. You can see, sorry.
It's okay.
Start your slideshow.
Surveys.
This is Niche, and I wanted to just draw your attention to this because these are outside people. These are outside surveys. We have nothing to do with them, and they ranked number one Festus R6 was the best district in Jefferson County. And you can see, I'm just going to click through them for the sake of time, but you can see they have a lot of great things to say about our school district, and this doesn't just go off of state assessment. The numbers you just saw were all state assessment, but these types of surveys go off of many different criteria, and they have ranked our school as one of the highest. So we're extremely proud of that. And there are lots of other organizations that do the same.
Thank you.
Speaking of those,
Great data.
of how teachers do, they spend a lot of time, many times, working with those students that need extra assistance, and like I said, that really reflects, especially that subgroup, that's paying off. I can remember very much, Director Beresowski, she used to spend days after school till 5, 6 o'clock working with some of the kids that really struggled, and like I said, that's what it's all about.
It's a true testament to how hard our teachers work.
Yes, absolutely.
Next, prior to new business, approve the lawn care bid.
We did go out for bid for lawn care. We had a pre-bid meeting. We had 13 vendors attend the pre-bid, but of the 13, we wound up having 6 that submitted a formal bid. Outside of 6, there was one that came in well after the deadline, and that was after the extended deadline. And so we did not accept it because we'd already opened the others. And of the 6 bids we had, They range from a per cut bid of $5,760 per cut, all the way to the low bid of $855 a cut. And so, we currently have been paying $950 per cut. And so the low bid received was from Nishbach, Nischbach, Nishbach Lawn Care based here in Festus. And they submitted a per cut cost of $855 per cut. Our Director of Maintenance, Mr. Stegeman, met with them. And we would like to recommend the low bid from Nishbach in that amount of $855 cut to perform the lawn care service per bid specifications. But we have talked with them, and just like they will enter on a probationary basis. The first 6 weeks will be probationary, and if it's not felt the work is up to par, and that we will, and have told that we reserve the right to discontinue that partnership. Hopefully that will not come about, but they're well aware that they would start this spring. And then this is an agreement also that if, at the end of this season, if we're comfortable, we could extend for another year and into a third year even before we would go out to bid, if we're happy with the services that we're getting.
Somebody like to make a motion to approve the lawn care bid?
I'll make a motion to approve the lawn care bid for $855 per cut by Nishbach's Lawn Care.
Motion by Ms. Beresowski, do you have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Abrams? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of amending the 2021-22 school calendar.
The last item I'd like for the board to consider is that, and you have an attachment there, but our current district calendar calls for an attendance day being on Tuesday, April the 5th, which is the municipal election day. The middle school is used as a municipal election site. They use the multi-purpose area for a lot of things, and especially with the pandemic, and plus it's kind of a concern because you have people coming in all day, parking, buses, drop off, people coming in. It's just not the best scenario for that. And so what I would like to ask the board to consider is that we amend our current district calendar and make that Tuesday, April 5th, instead of it being an on-site student attendance day, that it become an alternative methods of instruction or a remote learning day. And we wouldn't, we would get full funding. We would not have to extend our calendar. But then the second half of that recommendation, what I'd like you to consider is that because that's a Tuesday, well, Monday is also scheduled to be a student attendance day. But if we have Tuesday as a remote learning day and Monday as an attendance day, we're probably going to really get hit hard with on-site attendance on that Monday. So what I would like to ask you to do is that we amend the calendar, make Tuesday, April the 5th, a AMI day, remote learning day, but then take Monday, April the 4th, and make that just a no school day. But because of the fact that DESE in the state of Missouri now requires you to only go a certain number of instructional hours, you have to have 1,044 hours. It's not under the days anymore. And even because we're now well into the year, we have enough, the cushion is not the best word, but we have enough hours that if the board would decide to make that Monday a non-attendance day, no school day, we're still going to be able to meet our 1,044 hours, not lose any funding. And I think it would help solve like I said, with our dilemma with the polling place. Because, if I had my druthers, but again, we have to help the county out. They need polling sites, and we want to be good partners with them. But like I said, at this late in the school year, I've kind of held off because, and even with that, we would still have a little bit. We would still be a little bit of cushion. We still have our 5 AMI days, plus we also have we would still have 8 or 10 hours left that if some unforeseen event happened that affected our operations. But I think, again, we haven't been out of the pandemic, hopefully it's in our rearview mirror, but again, our staff, our families and students have worked hard, and I just think that would be a win-win for everybody, for the county to be the polling place. They don't have our inconvenience, we don't have their inconvenience, we're not losing funding. And then, as I said, I would also, since we're not losing funding, like I said, we would probably look at, like I said, the classified staff, we would look at, like I said, making sure that they are not at a loss for any money, any funds, wages as well. But if you remember, we did something similar last year around the same time. That I'm asking you, if you would consider that. If you have questions, I'll answer them, but I would like to get that approved if you're going to do it tonight so that we could begin announcing that. And I did put in there, like I said, I explained it all, but then I also put in there as, under that one, as an attachment, you click on the file, it actually shows you the top one, what our current calendar is, and then if you go down to the bottom half, what it would reflect if you make the change. We basically would go from 172 student attendance days to 171, and our second semester would be reduced by 1 day. That still is right before the advent of our spring map testing, so we're really not going to, it's good. It's a one less instruction day, but we haven't really started our map testing at that point yet, have we, Dr. Roos?
No, it will be at the end of April, beginning of May. That's when map testing starts.
But I wanted to throw that out for your consideration.
Does anybody have any questions about it? Anybody inclined to make a motion to approve an adjustment to the calendar?
I'll approve the adjustment to the calendar to have no students on April 4th and Monday, April 4th, and Tuesday, April 5th to have an AMI day.
We have a motion from Ms. Beresowski. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Abrams? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all I have.
Anything else for open session?
Not for me, no.
If not, I'll entertain a motion for the roll call vote to enter into executive session with closed record and closed vote pursuant to RSMO 610.021, sections 3 and 13, personnel.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Abrams?
I'll second it.
Ms. Beresowski, will you poll the board, please?
Mr. Fadler?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Wiggle?
Yes.
Mr. Abrams?
Yes.
Ms. Beresowski?
Okay, we'll take 5 minutes.